Squid Game. At first, you might think that this is some kind of a wacky video game. Look up Octodad and you'll see what we mean. But in fact, this is a very violent yet incredibly relevant Korean-made series that's out now on Netflix and it's taking the world by storm. It's a look at society and what some people will do for money. It's gotten a lot of people's attention in a good way, and many look at the series as a pinnacle of what certain genres can be. But what went into making this show? Allow us to show you 10 Squid Game BTS facts. Number 10, it's really popular if you look over the last several years, especially. You're going to see that Netflix really does have a knack for going and getting shows that really embody the streaming service and bringing out incredible quality TV as well as movies. Think of Stranger Things, Bridgerton, The Queen's Gambit, Cobra Kai, and more. You're going to see just how good Netflix is at getting great programming. But the truth of the matter is that Squid Game is putting them all to shame in terms of views and chatter, to the point that not long after its release, it was the top show in over 90 countries, and many project it will beat Bridgerton's record of most views in a month because of how popular it's getting. Just goes to show that you never know what's going to be popular until it comes out and people watch it. Number 9, guiding character. Through personal experience, Park Hae-Soo plays the role of one of the smartest characters in Squid Game, Cho Sang-woo. He says he took a lot of inspiration from Hwang and made it a point to ask about his experiences in SNU or Seoul National University. Both the director and the character went to the prestigious university, but their similarities don't end there. The director reveals that back in the days, his grandma used to work at the Sasmundong market, just like Sang-woo's mom in the show. Hwang adds that his past is mixed with Sang-woo's, which likely helped to make the character more realistic. This is a classic technique for writers, as it's sometimes hard to ground characters in reality based on the material. So by invoking certain real-life memories, the director was able to make someone that people could identify with because he went through some of those things himself. Number 8, not giving up on a vision. Although Hwang doesn't mention in the YouTube video, he highlights a fascinating fact about the show in his interview with the Wall Street Journal. The director first started writing the series over a decade ago, back in 2008, which happened to be a time when his own family was in a lot of debt. He drew from his own experiences with his family's financial burden and his love for comic books while writing his story. His script for Squid Game kept getting rejected by local studios who found it too violent. That is, until Netflix picked it up, because they thought the class struggles outlined in Hwang's work spoke to reality. Now, given the response that Squid Game has had, it's amazing to hear how it was rejected for so long, even going so far as to reveal that he had to sell his writing laptop because he needed the money to keep going. Now, many are hearing this and taking it as an inspiration, and that it may be a while before you get what you feel is your big break, but if you play the game and don't give up, you might just get it. Number 7, bump equals great scene. Sae-byuk is first introduced as a random passerby who Jin-hoon happens to bump into as he evades his angry debt collectors. As she falls, she drops her iced coffee, which Gi-hoon scrambles to pick up and hand back to her in a comedic way. The director reveals that this is actually an improvised scene with many detailed expressions, all ad-libbed into one shot. The actor who plays Ji-hoon, Lee Jung-jae, actually didn't realize that he was ad-libbing, explaining that it became a natural part of the likable character that they had built in Squid Game. He points out that Sae-byuk, played by Jung Hyun-yin, is hiding her face and chuckling in that scene. If fans look a bit closer, they'll see her shoulders shaking from laughter, showing that sometimes the best moments aren't ones that are planned, but ones that happen naturally. Number 6, a reaction to the outfits. Squid Game's iconic costumes were not easy for the cast to film in, with Hwang recounting how the actors really struggled during the scenes in the dormitories. He describes the material of the teal tracksuits as being similar to old gym clothes, which caused the set to become really dusty. Some actors had difficulty breathing because of the outfits, while others' faces even turned red because of allergies. It seems like they pushed through with the dusty costumes anyway, despite how bothersome the material was for a few actors. More than likely, they pushed through because the team behind the camera knew that the series worked in part because of the unique outfits And while they could have changed them, it would have resulted in delays and likely would have lost them a very key visual element that fans can't help but emulate now. Number 5. Movie or TV show? It's hard to imagine the popular show crammed into less than 2 hours as a movie, but that's exactly the dilemma Hwang faced when he was first writing the script. He felt constrained by the idea of it being a film, complaining how 2 hours wasn't enough to even cover all the games. Thankfully, it was adapted as a series, which allowed Wang and his team to add more stories to the plot, as well as new characters. One of the characters he added, who wasn't in the original script, was Jun-Ho, played by HoYeon Jung. Now, this is another thing that Netflix is famous for, as another one of their hit series in The Umbrella Academy was originally supposed to be a movie, but was gotten by Netflix and turned into the hit series that will be releasing its 3rd season in 2022. Sometimes you need to have that longer format to make things work. Number 4. The Coffin. There are a ton of heartbreaking deaths in Squid Game, with each player's demise almost always ending up with the appearance of a black coffin with a pink ribbon. According to the show's art director, Shae Kyung-sun, she imagined what the mind of the competition's creator could come up with and then applied it to the coffin. Since the creator thinks as if he's a god with power and mercy, he bestows a final gift to the players. It's as if he's saying that their bodies being disposed in the incinerator is a show of his mercy. The pink ribbon definitely adds an element of creepiness to the show and has become an unforgettable image in the fandom. Wang suggested this specific color because he wanted it to be a combination of the guards' striking hot pink uniforms and the frontman's all-black ensemble, resulting in pastel pink ribbons. Number 3. Original looks. The guards' striking hot pink jumpsuits were initially supposed to be Boy Scout uniforms. Wang and Shae decided to change them because the initial Boy Scout-like outfits showed the men's figures too well, which defeated the purpose of making them look like ants in an ant colony. Wang decided that the best way to cover their entire body and achieve the image that he wanted was through the jumpsuits. It was the best option to keep them anonymous. It was important to be able to utilize the hood to hide their head too. Number 2. The Tug of War. Fans who were impressed by how realistic the characters' struggles were during the Tug of War round may be surprised to find out that it's because the game felt real to the actors. Wang reveals that a machine was pulling from the other side during the scene, which made it extremely difficult for the actors to fight back. He recalls how Lee and the other players tugging on the rope were all worn out, even recounting a conversation that the two of them had after that exhausting shoot. Lee, who has starred in several action films like The Last Witness and Typhoon, told the director that out of all the action films he's shot, this is the most difficult scene he's ever done. Wang even jokes about Lee almost getting knocked out during filming. Number 1. Dalgona Game. A fan favorite round in Squid Game is the second level, where players have to lick shapes out of Dalgona candies. Now, this wasn't an easy game to film, as the art director for the show recalls how it was the most tricky prop to work with. They had to bring in a Dalgona expert who could keep making the candies like a robot, churning out hundreds of them during the shoot. There was a prop team that not only helped him make the candies, but then assisted in stamping each one. On top of all that, each actor had their own prop manager who would replace their candy once it started melting, or if they needed a new one for a different angle. So what do you think of this look at Squid Game and how the show came to be as we know it? Were you surprised by some of these little facts that helped make the show what it was? Do you really hope that Squid Game Season 2 gets made so we can go back to this bizarre and brutal take on the world? What do you hope happens in it? If so, well, let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel.